So one of the things that I really want to talk about and hear your opinion on is the lack of Republican candidates this past November, and how many seats just didn't have a Republican candidate in them. So why do you think that is?
Well, we have a great deal of good people, qualified people, strong people, articulate folks, experienced. But how can they run if the state party itself does nothing to help them? Let me define that. The first purpose, the absolute first purpose of a political party is to register voters.
Absolutely.
And since spring of 2013, the Republican Party of California has not registered a single voter. And to give you an idea of what that means in numbers, in January of 2013, there were 1 million more registered Republicans than declined to state. January 2013,
Okay.
1 million.
Mm-hmm.
October 22nd, 2018, 5.5 years later, after 5.5 years of no registration at all, there were 700,000 more declined to state than Republicans, a flip of 1.7 million. So if you were a smart person and you see that your own party didn't care enough to register voters, but that was only the first part. The second part is get out the vote. Now, whether we like the law or not, in 2016, the state legislature passed a bill that allowed for harvesting of absentee ballots.
Yes, which is a legal thing to do.
It's legal in California,
Yes.
but in California it's legal.
Right.
And again, if you like the law or not, it is the law.
Right.
Democrats use that law.
To their advantage.
The Republican Party ignored the law. Now, the chairman says that he gave a briefing in May of 2018 to the caucuses. Well, that's nice, a briefing.
Right.
Where's the work?
Right.
Forget the words, where's the work?
Exactly.
And we didn't have the work. And so in Orange County, if you want to know how many votes were harvested, approximately 250,000.
Wow.
So why did we lose all those congressional seats, state senate and assembly seats? Because we didn't do the job.
Exactly.
And the state party refused to do it.
Exactly. Obviously, our first thing that we need to focus on is voter registration. Do you think that the number of people that are declined to state, do you think those people might be Republicans and we're not getting the message out about the Republican Party?
I would guess that 2/3 of declined to state in California are Republicans who are fed up with the Republican Party. There are people who are running for chair right now who don't believe that Donald Trump should be on the ballot. How can you be chairman of a Republican Party if you don't support the President of the United States, who's a Republican?
Fantastic.
And so good Republicans see this and say, I don't want part of a party that doesn't support my president.
So obviously we have people within the party that don't really hold our values. Is that what you think it is? Are they not being held accountable for what they're doing?
They would prefer to win an election by making themselves Democrat light than standing on principle and winning elections based on principles that are more universal. And if the voter has a choice between Democrat light and Democrat, they'll go for Democrat because they want the real thing. I have issued a challenge to my opponents. Where is your money coming from to run for chair? I will tell the public every dime I receive in donations, who they come from. I challenge my opponents to do it. And I would suspect, with a lot of background to it, that one of my opponents is being financed in total by the anti-Trump movement, trying to take over the Republican Party in California. Then you have another candidate who's using money from a political action committee that is set up for the purpose of electing Republicans to the Assembly and State Senate, and instead he's using his money to elect himself chair of the state party so he could then run for governor.
Is that legal?
Yes, it is legal.
Okay.
It is immoral, it is unethical, and it is legal.
If you were to get this position, what would be the first thing that you would do?
Legal issues like voter integrity, voter registration, get out the vote, creation of candidates, vetting of candidates, communications, and a few other issues. about 15 in total. And by the end of that first 30 days, for each one of those segments, we'll have a working plan to be implemented so we can go forward. One of my opponents wrote to all the delegates that he's upset that I have all these written plans on what to do. And his suggestion is instead of having written plans, we should start a discussion. His
No,
words, start a discussion.
We're done with discussing.
Right.
We need a plan and
Yeah.
we need to get it done.
Well, we don't have a political party. What are you going to discuss?
Exactly.
And-
I feel like a lot of people that talk to us, they feel like, why would I get involved? Nothing is going to happen anyway. Nothing's going to get done. Do you feel like people in this state are just over it? They're just tired. They just don't even want to get involved because what good would it do anyway?
It's leadership.
Yes.
Why isn't our elected leadership going to the general public? It's great speaking to Women's Federated. It's good speaking to the CRA. I love speaking to central committees. But those are the committed people. That's the choir.
Exactly.
We need to go to the general
Yes.
public if we're going to expand our base.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like there is no communication with the people. I feel like just somebody kind of from the outside, when I get emails from the Republican Party, it's fancy dinners and expensive tickets. And how are they getting the public involved? How are a single mother, how are you bringing me into that party? You're not. You're kind of excluding people. And so I think that's another thing that needs to change. It needs to be more to the people. Get us excited. Get us involved.
Well, of course. And that's why as I put together a 15-page back to basics plan to give every aspect of the party what the problems are and how to fix the problems, the solutions for the problem. It's not enough to say we need voter registration, but how are you going to do it?
Right.
I'll give you one, for instance, of getting voter registration, as well as harvesting of votes, absentee ballots. 52% of evangelicals in California are not registered to vote. And in most elections of the 48%, only half of those vote. So if we just
Wow.
made an attempt to get the evangelical community to register to vote and to vote, we could do it.
Oh, another thing I want to ask you, a lot online, people are saying, we need somebody with energy to get people hyped up and get people involved. So do you think that that's what we need? And if so, would you be able to bring that excitement and that buzz like somebody like Travis Allen would be able to bring to the party?
I do 75 to 100 speeches a year around the state, from San Diego to Humboldt. I organize groups and projects throughout the state. I've been doing it for more than 30 years at this level. I probably have more energy than either candidate combined. I'm not one to watch reruns of Seinfeld. I have more important things to do. I put out a newsletter that goes to about 100,000 people. It's at 3 a.m. every morning. Been doing that since 1996.
Wow.
And so if you're talking about energy, I'm there.
So do you feel like the money within the party has been handled correctly? Do you see areas that it could have done better?
The problem isn't the raising of the money. The problem is the expenditure. Let's go back to what I said before. The first responsibility of a party is to register voters.
Yes.
Who cares if you have $33 million if you don't have any voters?
Exactly.
So the priority of the spending was wrong. And it's not what I'm saying that it's wrong. Look at the results.
A lot of people, when we hear this kind of stuff, it just makes us angry, right? So it
should be.
makes us angry and frustrated, and We want somebody to go in there and just be honest and just do something, do something.
Well, I've been accused of not being subtle. And I'll be clear, I am too old to be subtle.
Thank you. I don't think we need any other people to talk, give us these, just be honest. Just be honest and to the point and direct. That's what we need.
Well, I like the words of Harry Truman. I don't give them hell, I just tell the truth and they think it's hell.
Fantastic. And I think that is what makes a true leader, is somebody that is honest. Because if you're not honest with the problem, how are you ever going to get to the solution, right? And honest about where we've messed up and where we've gone wrong. So how do you go about getting volunteers, getting people to go out and register? How do you bring that excitement back to the party? I've walked, precincts, I've done all that, and it just seems like it's really a struggle to get people to go out and actually do something.
Well, if you remember about 8-9 years ago, we had the start of the Tea Party movement.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the Tea Party movement? Taxed enough already, TEA, but it was about people who were angry of what government was doing to them rather than for them.
Mm.
And if you look at the lessons of the creation of the Tea Party, it gives you the answer to your question. You need to explain to the general public what government is doing to them, not for them.
Their message was very strong. They had a platform that every single candidate that was speaking that day, they all unified this one message, which was like free everything,
Sure.
And then, but they all pretty much said the same exact thing. Every single speech was almost exactly the same. So people knew what the whole party as a whole, what their message was. I don't feel like that was the case for Republicans. Every Republican had a different message, and it wasn't unified.
Well, it's not just the candidates, it's the party. The party is responsible for the generic message. The candidates are responsible for the specific message. We did not have a generic message. And I would suggest that we can bring a simplified message to all communities. Public safety, quality education, including schools of choice, limited government, and lower taxes. Bring that to every community.
Yes.
Explain why it helps that community. And you don't have to remember, well, did I say this to the blacks? Did I say this to Hispanics? No, you say it to Californians.
Exactly.
Why are we going after the identity politics of the Democrats? Why aren't we playing our politics? We're concerned not about black people or white people. We're concerned about all people.
Absolutely.
And no one person is better than another, right?
And every single person within those communities, they all care about that stuff. We all care about that.
Exactly. So why aren't we talking about the things people care about?
Exactly.
Especially when those things that they care about are things we care about and have plans for.
Are we not looking close enough at our own party and holding them accountable?
No, that's correct. We aren't. People on the street don't know who the head of the Republican Party is, nor do they care. Seriously. They don't vote for him.
It's true.
So there are 4.7 million Republicans registered in the state of California. Out of 4.7 million, there are approximately 1,400 that get to vote for chairman.
So the two other candidates that are running, how are you different from them, and why do you think that you deserve the position?
I support President Trump, and I'm not running for governor. I mean, let's be blunt about it. The chairman of the Republican Party of California needs to have their eyes on the agenda of the party, not their own personal agenda.